Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers.
Hello! We are back again. Leave it to Mac. What does that mean? Well, what it means is there's signs for optimism when you think about it. The Patriots offense, Phil Perry, he's got some understandings, as he phrased them, about how things might change between now and the opener. So we're going to get to that. And we're also going to hit on the roster cuts because all these teams have to get down to 53 players today. Whole mess of New England Patriots out the door. So we're going to talk about that. Here's the game plan for this evening's program. Take it over here. Wait, there. Playing possum, cut down day, Jimmy staying put, and of course the viewer poll and your comments. I do want to show you some of these guys that the Patriots said goodbye to. Some of them might be back. Here's some of the names that we have confirmed. There might be some others that come down the line, but you have Asiasi, Mitchell, Kevin Harris drafted this year, Trey Nixon is a guy whose name you'll recognize, Henry Anderson, free agent that the Patriots brought over from the Jets, Justin Bethel, experienced special teamer of the Patriots, have said goodbye to. Also, J.J. Taylor, Cam McGrone, who, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I had fitted for a Patriots Hall of Fame red jacket. Thought he was going to have a sizable impact. Put that down as a wrong. And Lil Jordan Humphrey, who does have practice squad eligibility, and he may be back. But I think the one that jumps out to me is Devin Asiasi. He's a player who's a third-round pick in 2020. So now they had 2 third-round picks in 2020 that they spent on tight ends. Dalton Keene, Devin Asiasi, both out the door. The Patriots got 5 combined catches from these 2 third-round picks. Meanwhile, Rob Gronkowski was on the precipice of leaving for years on end, and the Patriots did nothing at the tight end position. Ryan Izzo don't cut it, ladies and gentlemen. And when they did spend him, they missed on him. And then they had to spend all that dough on Hunter Henry and, of course, Jonnu Smith. Hunter Henry, meanwhile, you might talk to him later in the show, or he'll talk to me and you'll hear it. Anyway, let's put the cork in that and jump over to what I was talking about with my slant. Check it out.
I think during the preseason right now, this is a time for them as an offense that's learning a new system with a new coaching staff. A lot of what they've done, almost all of what they've done this summer, including in the preseason games, has been getting to the line of scrimmage and running the play that's called. And I think once we get to the regular season, Tom, I feel confident that Mac Jones will have more power and he'll be able to get to the line and say, you know what? We're not going to run this play into this look. We have a better play for this look. I have it in my brain. I'm going to communicate it to my teammates, and we're going to be a better offense for it.
Does that guy mean let Mac cook? Is that what Phil is saying here? Well, maybe not exactly. But the way Phil is telling it, and God bless him for having this, we haven't seen the Patriots really be reactive at all in the preseason or for chunks of training camp. In order to get, again, this is what Phil's saying, and I trust him implicitly. In order to get this new offense right, to get it to play fast, the play sent in is the play they have run come hell or high water. This, I guess, is the process that Bill Belichick refers to, and the one Mac was talking about a few weeks back when he basically said, we run the plays, we put them in the Petri dish. After practice, we look at the film, where we got it right, where we got it wrong, and they rep it over and over and over again so that the offense is going to eventually play fast and thought-free. So when the season starts, Mac's big brain is going to come to the line. He'll know that they can run those real fast, but he can also jump into another play. Josh McDaniels always wanted the Patriots to change plays. Phil says that's something they haven't done in this offseason. Sounds like maybe a little bit of that Sun Tzu stuff, you know? You limp around, you look like you're inept, and then you get off the mat and you, boom, hit him with a haymaker. Bottom line, it's been one long walk down Bleak Street this summer, you know? But this, even though it's just a, glimmer of hope, it's a lifeboat you can swim for. Maybe Mac's going to cook, and the Patriots' offense might not be as bad as it looked. All right, we sent it out for your comments. Roberto, what do we got?
All right, Tom, well, we got your poll first.
Oh, yeah.
It's, from the Stands, is presented by Shaw's. They are perfecting the art of fresh, as they always do.
Check it out. How much does Phil Perry's info change your view of the Patriots' offensive fortunes? See, these are bad options because the middle one was definitely going to have too many, but a lot. And thank God, 21%. A bit, it changes it, but I remain edgy, 56%. No change there, doomed, 23%. And here are the comments. Roberto, what do we got?
Yeah, Jake says, a bit. I don't think they're doomed, but I'm not in love with the idea that a second-year QB will be calling an endless number of audibles at the line. It can work in Madden, but shouldn't be the stopgap for good game planning and offensive coordinating, exclamation point.
I like the point that Jake just jumps to. It's just going to be nonstop audibles, but I appreciate the feedback.
He read it very, very. It was real to him. Blah says no change. Never thought they were doomed to begin with. Will just be a slow start. A slow start, is that doomed? Oh.
Yeah, it's not doomed, but it ain't great.
And then Ryan says, only hope the Patriots have its Patricia and Judge getting lost on the way to the stadium on Sundays and Mac is calling his own plays. I hate to break it to you, Ryan, but I think they know how to get to Gillette.
Ryan, not fair. Not fair at all. Because, again, I'm going to reiterate this. It is not Matt Patricia's fault that he's the play caller / offensive coordinator. And it's not Joe Judge's fault that he's the quarterback's coach. When we look at this, it's Bill Belichick who put these guys in this spot. So I think it's interesting when we look at all the things the Patriots are going to have to try and do between now and the opener in Miami. And they may even go down to Miami a little early to get adjusted to the heat. But there's going to be a lot of adjusting to do in that opener. Because while the Patriots are like, oh, yeah, you know what, we're going to audible at the line, we're going to do some different things, don't worry about it. I think what we have to remember, too, is the Patriots are going to be going against a team who has actually game planned for them. So they're going to be unearthing some things, too. All right, we got risers, we got fallers, we got players to highlight as the Patriots move towards the regular season. The first guy we're going to highlight as a riser, it's Sam Roberts, the defensive lineman. He had an outstanding preseason, and he's going to make the team most likely, reportedly. So I think this impact for the Patriots up front and in their front seven, it's significant. Few different players have made an impact for them up front today. Well, Brian Ray, we still don't have word on him, but that's an Alabama undrafted guy who could have impact as well. Next up, it's Brendan Schooler. Okay, he's a long-haired son of a gun, and he is going to be a core special teamer for the team. Went to Texas. He's going to make an impact. I mean, he's half of a Gunnar Olszewski look-alike, so happy to have him aboard. Justin Bethel, who is a valuable special teamer. Most likely, he is being replaced by Schooler. It's a 1-for-1. It'll be interesting to see how much impact he has. And the last one, I'm going to go all the way back to Friday night, and I'm going to bring up the cornerback Jack Jones. Because this player, fourth rounder out of Arizona State, has done so much in this offseason to make an impact. Jack Jones and Marcus Jones, the Jones boys at cornerback as rookies, are going to have a significant impact on the Patriots defense. And that's something to be said for a secondary that we weren't too sure about as we were going into this training camp. Now, how about some fallers? We get Devin Asiasi. As I stated at the beginning of the show, tough break for a guy like that. You look at him as somebody who was not a bad pass catcher throughout the entire course of time he was here, but he had some injury problems, and I think that really impacted him. In addition to the Patriots kind of just bailed on him. I think they overestimated how good he would be able to be. All right, next up is Terence Mitchell, the cornerback. Actually started out in camp really solid, but it quickly was replaced by these guys, Jack Jones and Marcus Jones, who leapfrogged Mitchell. So Mitchell, free agent the Patriots signed, is going out. Again, he was not a bad player at all. It speaks to some of the development of these young cornerbacks. And finally, Lil Jordan Humphrey. Man, it's tough. I think he had like 71 catches in the preseason. He also had that incredible save on the goal line of a punt, downing of a punt, diving in, flipping it back over his shoulder. I mean, it's a fantastic play. He does have some practice squad eligibility. So just to reiterate, the guys who have that, they will pass through waivers. If anybody else doesn't claim them, Patriots can bring them back. I think we have a quote of the week, too, before we bring in the great Hey Adams. What do we got, Roberto?
Yeah, Matt Patricia yesterday was asked about the zone run scheme. What did it look like in the preseason? Is it time to abandon it? Here's part of what he said.
Sometimes the emphasis isn't so much on, what does the production look like at the moment? It's how good are we with our pad level, our hand placement, our foot placement. Sometimes, right now we'll run them into looks that maybe aren't great, just so that we can get the runs run in that particular moment and make sure that we're getting enough reps at everything before the reps really kind of get limited as we go forward from there.
Interesting. You hear Matt Patricia really reiterating that running into bad looks sometimes, which kind of amplifies what Phil's point is. The Patriots haven't spent a lot of time audibling, so they just keep ramming it up in there, and seeing how it looks. Doesn't look so flippin' good. We'll see how it looks when the regular season begins, and they can pivot a little bit. All right, we got a trivia question for you people. Oh, my eyes, they stink. Who was the last All-Pro that the Patriots drafted? Who made All-Pro for the Patriots? That means Chandler Jones is not going to qualify for you. So who was the last All-Pro the Patriots drafted? Potential. Brought to you by Dr. Matthew Presti. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR. You're going to look younger. You're going to feel younger. You're going to get so much hair. You're going to go, what's up with all that hair I suddenly have? You can get that at Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. No lie, I was just saying that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to bring in the great Kay Adams for a round of quick fire presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Hi, friend.
Hi, friend. Your hair is looking amazing, and I will tell you, it is James Richard Garoppolo.
Jimmy Dick Garoppolo.
Jimmy Dick Garoppolo. You said it.
Do you think that my A block is too long? I feel like I'm just blah, 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 blah.
I was sitting here, no joke. It's very impressive. It's exhausting. It's a little Mr. Curran Goes to Washington meets Micro Machines guy from the 90s commercials. But I liked it.
Okay, felt like a full-on filibuster. We'll work on that for next week.
Yeah.
Jimmy Stays Put is the first one. What's your feeling on Jimmy Garoppolo signing or redoing his contract to stay with the Niners?
I don't love it for a few reasons, right? There's, of course, the Trey Lance, what is this, my dating life? You're going to flirt with him but not ask him out on a date? Mixed signals are the name of the game here, at least optically. And I hate that we're going to have to talk about it for another year. It makes me want to go hibernate back in my cage. I will say, though, the Pollyanna side of it, Kay Adams took a bit of a K-Wasp on a journey of optimism to find myself over the past couple of months. It's not the worst thing with Jimmy Garoppolo, who's only played, one full season since 2019. Not the worst thing to have some insurance. Is it bad for a Super Bowl contender to have two viable options? Will it get messy? Yes, but that's the drama of the sport. What do you think?
It's so funny because that's exactly what Jimmy Garoppolo was supposed to be in 2017 when the Patriots did not trade him. That was the stated reason the Patriots told me, people within the organization, look, we're not going to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo here in the offseason when we have a Super Bowl caliber team and we don't know if Tom Brady is going to fall off the cliff. That's what they were saying in the offseason going into the 2017 season. That's a big part of the reason they kept him. So Jimmy again becomes a failsafe. I also wonder, Kay, do they really trust Trey Lance? That to me is going to be what's fascinating.
It's not a good look, and then if things fall apart, week 4, everyone's calling for Jimmy Garoppolo to go back in there. It is a 1-year rework deal for about $7 million for Jimmy Garoppolo to stay for now in the Bay Area, and I like the Niners this year for what that's worth. All right, let's talk about somebody that you and I love. We love Julian Edelman, Super Bowl champ, absolute legend up there in New England. He was hanging out with another legend, Chris Long, who we know and love, who is an awesome podcast everybody should listen to. It is on the Blue Wire Network. It is called Greenlight Podcast. Just take a listen.
I'm doing things in a beginning phase of like an off season ish, just kind of feeling out my body and feeling out my legs. I mean, I've had some downtime. My body feels good. There's some deficiencies here and there, but I feel like extremely better than I did, the last year and a half of my career. So I don't know if it's foos gold, just because I haven't been compounding loadage. That's why, you get interested. So then you kick it up a little bit here and there and you analyze. You don't make decisions. And that's what I'm doing.
Dude, it's fascinating,
Here's
huh?
what I'll say.
I mean, it's fascinating that all of these guys move on. They feel as if they've moved on. They make statements they moved on, and then they waver. And I was talking to Frank Edelman, his dad, a few weeks ago. He's like, look, Julian's running 19 miles an hour. We're on the beach. We have one of those things. 19 miles an hour is freaking fast. But what he contended, you'll find this interesting, Kay, is look, Julian has to practice every day. And his body won't stand up to that. And he said, look, guys like Danny Amendola, guys like Rob Gronkowski, they didn't mind not practicing. Julian thrives on it. So I still think it's a long shot.
You always got to put a Danny Amendola reference in there, don't you, Curran? Here's what here's what I'm going to say. I am done with the man who cried retirement argument in the NFL. You are not going to get my attention. I'm not going to watch your emotional press conferences. I'm on to you, and there's a trust issue here. I don't believe anyone anymore. From Randy Moss and Brett Favre, we can go down the throwbacks, but Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, of course Edelman is Mr. Leave the door open and come back after retirement. Of course I think it's possible. I mean, Brooklyn 911 went away. Curb Your Enthusiasm retired twice and then came back, and I was emotional about it. So I'm not interested, and I think that all these NFL players, the jig is up. The jig is up. Retirement is over.
It is good for the brand. It is good for the brand. It is good for the brand.
And we know Edelman loves the brand. All right, we're going to move on here because Kimberly A. Martin, who is an excellent reporter for ESPN, met her, love her, covers the New York area really well, but she's talking about Lamar Jackson. And she said, Lamar Jackson adding some context to negotiations with the Ravens. Someone else said, Ravens, you're on the hot seat. Give that man the $250 million guaranteed before you write a check. Your blank can't cash. Someone said he wants more. They already offered that. And Lamar Jackson chimes in and he says, no, they didn't.
From the clouds.
So I want your thoughts on this. He's playing the social media game. What do you got?
And then he also liked a picture of himself pictured in a Miami Dolphins uniform, and he is from South Florida originally. What's interesting to me about this entire thing with Lamar Jackson is he has decided to represent himself. And in representing himself, he's kind of pinched himself into a corner. And now he's negotiating through the media and making comments, not negotiating through the media, but you get onto social media with something of this import. This is a $1 billion, $250 million deal that he could be doing. So hopefully he gets it done to his satisfaction or goes where he wants to be and doesn't get himself hosed on a contract that will take care of legions of Jacksons for years to come.
Oh, come on. You're an old guy yelling at a cloud, yelling to get off my lawn. This is a guy who knows his value, high risk, high reward move. He is saying, I have social media. Do you know that there was a GoFundMe page started to pay him that $250 million guaranteed? Who's backed themselves into the corner but the Ravens? What's their plan B? They're going to win meaningful games with that backup. This is an MVP. He deserves to be paid what Josh Allen is being paid in that world of what the Patrick Mahomes are being paid. All you have to do is look at the market value. You don't want to pay the ridiculous price for gas. You don't drive.
He is a dice roll. You know it, and I know it. Lamar Jackson is a dice roll. I know he was an MVP. I know he's an electrifying player, but there are occasions All right, today's trivia question. Who was the last All-Pro that the Patriots drafted? Ha-ha! You guys forgot about Jake Bailey in 2019, didn't you? Gunnar Olszewski was also an All-Pro that year. He was undrafted, though. Previously, it was McCourty, a second-team All-Pro in 2010, and Rob Gronkowski, who, of course, was a multiple All-Pro. Irrelevant questions coming right up in your grill piece right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hunter Henry, the prolific tight end from Arkansas originally. Do me a favor, your best representation of any kind of a Boston or New England accent.
Well, you got to roll the Oz, so it's like, Park. My wife's name is Parker.
Okay.
And
a
lot of times around here it's Parker. So, and then I'm now become Hunter. So just rolling the R's. I think I've kind of picked up on that.
In my experience too, is Hunter ends up being Hunnah. Hunter.
Yeah.
Right?
He just kind of rolls off the tongue. So it is what it is. I'll take it.
I'm going to make one comment here that I didn't expect to make, and this might not even air, but I've never seen whiter teeth on a tight end. How are those teeth so white?
I got a great dentist.
All right, there's a segment in this program, too, that we call, hey, what's your number? And we refer to your number and ask you how exactly you ended up with the number 85. Is that the number you would prefer?
Honestly, I came in, and every place I've been, I've had a new number. But I kind of like that. Like, it's kind of a new thing at every place I go. I think it's also, I played with a guy in Antonio Gates, and so I think it's an honor to kind of don that number.
If you could have one number at all, what would it have been?
Well, I've been a lot of different numbers, so I want to be 85.
Okay, that's the best answer. What number were you in high school baseball? I guarantee you played high school baseball.
I did not play high school.
See, this is when I need to do the advanced work that I didn't do. How about high school basketball?
I did play basketball.
What number? 44.
41. Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, good. Did you choose it because of Dirk?
I was a freshman and they threw it on me, and then I realized Dirk wore it, and I was like, this is kind of sick.
Can you do the one-footed flamingo turnaround from the elbow?
I could not as good as him, but I could hit it every once in a while.
You played for Kevin Kelly at Pulaski Academy, and I know that Kevin Kelly is a mad scientist for football that Bill Belichick actually often speaks with about football philosophy and things he can hatch. What was the wackiest thing that Kevin Kelly hatched for you guys at Pulaski Academy?
Oh, man. Obviously, the no punting is pretty crazy. We did it in the state championship when we were backed up on our own, 5-yard line. It was 4th and 20, and we went for it.
How'd that work out?
We lost that state championship game. So it is what it is. It's all good. But we also, offensively, we did some crazy stuff. I think we did a quadruple reverse pass and then hit it down the field for 60 yards. So, yeah, if you want to go look at the highlights or YouTube stuff, it's pretty crazy.
My guy, thank you so much, and good luck. We got a little ways until the opener, but good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, we had some good profile going with that snoot. Nostradamus, I have a prediction for this year. It's Hunter Henry with catches, over 60, and over 10 touchdowns. He had 8 last year.